We don't have to live with trickle-down economics that never trickle down, and with austerity and sacrifice for the many, and a good life for the privileged few. We have a choice to make: greater wealth for the few or opportunity for many, tax breaks for the richest or a fair shot for the rest of us, a government that can be bought by the highest bidder, or a democracy that is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people. We can have guns, endless wars, tax breaks for the rich, tax havens for the corporations, tax loopholes for the speculators, war profiteering and bloated, wasteful military spending greater than the next 14 countries combined. Weapons and bases designed for a global conflict against enemies that no longer exist. Corporate profiteering, outsourcing, downsizing, subcontracting, offshoring, wage and benefit cutting, cost shifting and privatizing. Union busting, contract breaking, striker replacement, and other profit-driven corporate abuses. Dependence on climate-changing, global warming oil, gas, coal, and nuclear energy sources and technologies that are polluting, dangerous, and unsustainable, and will ultimately make the planet uninhabitable. Or we can make a different choice. We can have butter, end the wars and bring all our troops home now. Tax the rich, the banks, corporations and speculators. Put the Pentagon on a diet. Move the money from the military to Main Street. Invest in our communities to create jobs. Provide health care and education. Repair the social safety net. Restore public services and rehire laid-off public workers. Plug city and state deficits. Address climate change. And meet our other urgent social needs. It's pretty clear we can't have both. But there's an alternative. It's called the Budget for All, developed by the Congressional Progressive Caucus as an alternative to the austerity budget promoted by the Republicans. It eliminates the deficit in 10 years. It ends the wars and brings our troops home. It addresses both the cause and effects of the economic crisis and puts people back to work. The Budget for All focuses on job creation. It protects Social Security, Medicare and Medicaid. It funds education, rebuilds schools, roads, and bridges. It invests in clean energy, housing, and research and development. We can implement these changes without cutting into the social safety net and essential public services. Start by ending the Bush tax cuts for the rich, while protecting middle-class tax cuts. Create new tax brackets for millionaires and billionaires and close loopholes so everyone pays their share. Eliminate corporate welfare for oil, gas, and coal companies, and tax evasion schemes of multinational corporations. And penalize speculative stock trading with a financial securities transaction tax. Let's replace our militarized foreign policy with one that emphasizes diplomacy, negotiation, and economic development. End the wars and close those foreign bases. Eliminate Cold War and boondoggle weapons. Cut rather than modernize destabilizing weapons like our 5,000 nukes, and seriously work to eliminate nuclear weapons worldwide. Stop playing arms merchant to the world and sugar daddy for authoritarian governments, despots, and tyrants. Local governments are being ravaged by budget cuts. The social safety net is in tatters. Deeper cuts are threatened. Local politicians, including many quite conservative mainstream public officials, are struggling to keep local governments operating, but face an increasingly angry and desperate electorate. Local governments are not just consumers of federal programs and funding. Local politicians are an important constituency of members of Congress, who rely on them to mobilize voters and raise funds. Their voices could make a difference. The Campaign for New Priorities is designed to get local politicians to advocate with Congress for the interests of their constituents. Let's close with a couple of reflections on this challenge. The first is from General Eisenhower. Just before leaving office, he offered this sadly still timely warning.
Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. This world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of its laborers, the genius of its scientists, the hopes of its children.
The second is from a peacemaker and moral leader, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. Somehow this madness must cease. We must stop now. I speak as one who loves America, to the leaders of our own nation. The great initiative in this war is ours. The initiative to stop it must be ours.
These changes won't take place unless we demand them. And to do that effectively, we need to build organizations, coalitions, and movements that can carry on a campaign that compels Congress and the White House to change course. That's the Campaign for New Priorities. We invite you to visit the New Priorities Campaign website at newprioritiescampaign.org. There, you can sign a Declaration of Principles online or download a copy to circulate for others to sign. You will also find a list of all the organizations that have endorsed and are working on this campaign. The New Priorities Network, the national organization, has an excellent website at newprioritiesnetwork.org. That site includes an extensive resource area where you'll find fact sheets, talking points, videos, slideshows, articles, and other resources that are useful in building the movement. There is also a list there of all the organizations around the country that are involved in the network. Finally, you can write to the campaign at newprioritiescampaign@gmail.com. Join us.
I am convinced that if we are to get on the right side of the world revolution, we as a nation must undergo a radical revolution of values. We must rapidly begin the shift from a thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society, when machines and computers, profit motives and property rights are considered more important than people. The giant triplets of racism, extreme materialism, and militarism are incapable of being conquered. A true revolution of values will soon cause us to question the fairness and justice of many of our past and present policies. On the one hand, we are called to play the Good Samaritan on life's roadside. That will be only an initial act. One day we must come to see that the whole Jericho road must be transformed so that men and women will not be constantly beaten and robbed as they make their journey on life's highway. True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring.
Take our money, they can take our homes. They can steal the future, mortgage our souls. Occupy the politicians' minds. hide the truth and sell us lies. But there's a rising on Wall Street. I am you and you are me. We are the 99%ers, right side of love and history. There's a rising on Wall Street. I am you and you are me. We are the 99%ers, right side of love and history. Right side of love and history.